Hi, and welcome to the 2014 CAPS Summer Broadcast Program. I'm Lauren Graham.
I'm Jackson Burning, and this week 20 students visited Deanna Rose Children's Farmstead to get 10 amazing stories.
Let's look at our first story of the farmstead.
Hi, I'm Jack.
And I'm Robert.
Over the past few days, we have been learning about the Deanna Rose Farmstead.
And we found some pretty awesome stuff.
We love to come here because, well, it's free and there's so much to do. We look at all the animals, we play on the playground, and my son has a great time. My 3-year-old would say feeding the goats. That's his absolute most favorite thing.
As you can see, the farmstead is a great place to be.
Next time you are at the farmstead, make sure to check out all the farmstead it has to offer. Back to you guys.
Next, let's head over to the teepees and learn more about the Native Americans.
I'm Breck,
And I'm Lance.
and we learned a little bit about Native Americans.
So here's our story.
This is the official flag of the Carnation.
The buffalo picture explains what the Indians used them for.
These are some tools that they would use on a daily basis. This is a deer hide that they would use for clothes or shelter.
This is an example of a fireplace that they would use to cook food. Indians would crush corn to make cornmeal. These are teepees that the Indians would sleep in. Here's our Indian guide with more information.
Talking with the kids and teaching them about the artifacts, teaching them about history.
And the story.
And the stories. And because I have a lot of kids tell me, you're live. Isn't that true? Because you're used to watching everything on YouTube.
Yeah.
And they say, you're real, you're live. Yeah. And I can ask you a question, and they think that's great.
Yeah.
And that's what I love to do, is tell them something they don't know, and maybe make them interested in reading about it. Because I really push reading as well. That's important. And history is a wonderful thing to learn about.
I hoped you learned a little bit about Indian tribes and what their everyday life is like.
Be sure to make your way over to Deanna Rose. It's fun and educational.
Thanks for watching. Now back to your anchors.
Now let's learn about how a bank operated in the early 1900s in Kansas.
I'm Jackson Burning.
And I'm Will Becker.
Today we are right in front of the Ben's Bank in Deanna Rose Children's Farmstead. We are going to be interviewing 2 people there, one at Fats Photo Parlor and one at Ben's Bank.
Well, as volunteers, we go around and we introduce people around the bank and just show around the things that we do here and the antique artifacts that we have here and the different activities they can do at the farmstead. One of the main ones being the Passbook program. The Passbook program is one of the things that the Ben Bank is one of the center place for it. All around the farmstead, you'll find these Ben Bank boxes, and it's a kind of activity that the kids can do as they go around. They answer some questions, learn more about the history of the farmstead, and you get to play some games. It just makes it a kind of exciting, fun thing to do as they go around. We have ones for spring, summer, and fall. So the bank right here, Ben's Bank, is modeled after an early 1900s bank around 1901 or something like that. But all the artifacts here are all from that time as well. The safe, the clocks. In fact, this entire shelving right here that you'll see is all original early 1900s and all over 100 years old. And so that is kind of the time period that this bank is based in. And all the things you'll find here are that time period as well.
Well, we try and create a memory that they can take home of their visit to Deanna Rose Farmstead. We take their picture against a green screen, and then we have a variety of backgrounds that we have that can include them anything from milking a cow or being in a tornado, or riding a tractor, or just posing with animals. And they can pick the background they want and get their picture in it. When they get the photos, they get a 6x8, very nice quality print that's included in a folder that includes other pictures of Deanna Rose. Well, our most popular background is the tornado background. We have many visitors outside of Kansas also, and so they just think of Kansas and tornadoes and Wizard of Oz, so they like that one. Our second most popular is probably a wanted poster. Then we also have ones where they can be driving the tractor across a farmyard with animals, milking a cow.
3, 2, 1.
Wow, I learned a lot today at Fat's Photo Parlor in Ben's Bank.
Me too. We learned about the historical value of Ben's Bank and we saw all the interesting photography at Pat's Photo Parlor. It was really an interesting day.
You know, it might be time for me to get a haircut. Let's go over to the Barber Shop and see how they did in the olden days.
Hi, I'm Lauren.
Hi, I'm Tanvi. We learned a lot of interesting facts about the barber shop.
Let's go and find out more.
Yes, there were no aerosol cans, so they had a little bit of soap, a special kind of soap, in a cup. It looked like a coffee cup, but it was called a shaving mug. And they would stir that up with a little brush, which was their shaving brush, and they would just basically paint the bubbles all over their whiskers, the barber would, and then they could do this at home if they had the means, and then they would shave it off with a straight razor. They did not have a safety razor the way we have it today. Well, electricity was not even available in this area till about 1914 at the very earliest. Many of the suburbs did not have electricity prior to that. In an old house or an old building, they had to wire it for electricity. So sometimes they would be able to go through the wall, but lots of times they'd have to put the wire down on top of the wall and then add a little key, a little round key, in order to turn it on. The fans in this barber shop are an original example of an early fan. They're run by a belt, and in our case with a motor. But the interesting thing about these particular fans is that even before electricity was even invented, in some parts of the country, they were operated by a water wheel. Now in Kansas, it does not have that much water. The barber pole. Well, of course, our barber poles are red, white, and blue, and those are the colors of America. The blue was added to the red and the white about 1870. Prior to 1915, there was no such thing as licensing for barbers. And prior to that, when a man would come in for a shave and a haircut, they used the same combs, the same scissors. They didn't clean in between. But the thing that really got them was when they had a shave with a straight razor. They would be passing rashes from one man to the other. And they used to think it was the soap. So some men would bring in their own cup of soap, but then the rashes continued because the barber was using the same razor. He would simply wipe it off and move on to the next customer.
We learned many interesting things at the barber shop.
Back to you.
Hey Jackson, have you ever milked a cow before?
No, I actually don't think I have.
Oh, well, then I think we should go check out our next story.
Hello, my name is Raphael.
And I'm Matt. We had the chance to see some cows being milked today.
Here's our story. These cows have traveled overseas just so they could be milked. We are going to talk to an employee about their farm and their milk and the milking.
Well, I work in the dairy barn, so I take care of our 2 milk cows. We have one cow, Martina. She gets milked twice a day, so I do the milking presentations, which you just saw. We have 6 calves here, which I also take care of. I take care of their feeding, and then I have 9 goats in here that I take care of as well. Well, when she comes in, she comes up on the stanchion, and the first thing I do is I get her just a little bit out by hand, just to kind of clear her out, and then I'll hook her up to the milking machine. And how the machine works is air runs through the hose, and it just creates a suction cup in there that kind of works like your hand. So it just massages the milk. She gives about 4 gallons. It usually takes about 10 minutes to milk her out in the morning. And so her body knows naturally that when the milk starts to come out, she just kind of, after I am done milking her, I put the milk into bottles, and that's what the 6 calves you see here will drink, is they actually drink her milk in bottles. So The cows are really great. They actually have a lot of personality. Martina and Olive are best friends. Cows actually have best friends. They love to hang out together. They'll whine if they get separated. This is a great place to work. So I think the kids really like it. Right now, a lot of the younger kids are so far removed from the farm life. Most of them sometimes have never seen a cow or don't really even actually know where milk comes from. So I think they find it really cool and kind of educational to find out where it comes from and how it all happens. So
There you have it, the milking process and the farm.
Let's get back to our anchors.
In the early 1900s, school was very different. Let's go check it out.
Hi, my name's Emma. And my name is Stevani, and we visited the one-room schoolhouse at the Deanna Rose Farmstead. We interviewed a teacher to see what school was like back then.
In the early days of Kansas, school was held in one room.
I would be teaching reading, writing, arithmetic, penmanship, because penmanship was important back in those days because a lot of written communication was done. I would have 1st through 8th grade. I could take them as young as 4 years of age, and we could have young boys that were graduating with their 8th grade schooling at the age of 21. Maybe Dad had an accident at home, so Dad needed them to work on the farm. So it might take them up to the age of 21 to get their 8th grade certificate. The rules and expectations were the kids was to show a lot of respect for the teacher and for the areas around them, especially their elders. But one of the things they would do is they would be able to, I would expect them to come dressed. The girls would wear dresses, the boys would wear overalls. They'd come in closed-toed shoes. I would expect them to listen to me. If they did not, I had permission back in those days to use some discipline, like putting their nose on the chalkboard. I could put them on a dunce cap. And back in those days, if they disrespected me, I could also take a switch.
Along with talking to the teacher, we talked to a mom to see her thoughts about the schoolhouse.
I think it's very interesting to be able to come to an old farm schoolhouse. We learned today that everybody went to school in the same room and that the rules were a lot different. They were more strict back then. It was very interesting. I think it would probably have its benefits and negatives as well. I think it'd be really fun to have all of your brothers and sisters in the same room, but sometimes I think it'd be hard to learn because other people would be learning more quickly than you.
We had lots of fun at the one-room schoolhouse and learned a lot. We hope we can come back again soon. Back to the anchors.
If you had a long day at the farmstead, our next story will give you a good place to get refreshed.
Hi, I'm Samantha.
And I'm Callie, and today we are looking at the general store and the ice cream shop here at Deanna Rose.
Let's go take a look. The general store is a big attraction here at Deanna Rose with lots of history behind it.
Well, this is Vic's General Store at Deanna Rose Children's Farmstead. It's a recreation of a 1900s era rural country store. This store was put in at Deanna Rose 4 years ago, and the things that we have here are very typical of the period from the late 1800s up through the early 1900s. In those days, the general store was really the center of town. People would come down here to meet, to catch up on the news, as well as pick up goods they might need to run their farms. They would come down to maybe pick up seeds and supplies, farming equipment, as well as maybe materials to buy clothes. They might even come down here to bring down some of the crops that they had grown and maybe trade them for some of the merchandise. Back in those days, people didn't have a lot of money, and typically people would not be able to purchase things in the general store without the availability of credit. So the general stores would very often offer credit to the farmers and their families, and when the crop came in at the end of the season and they had money, they would come down and repay the general store for their purchases. The store that we have here is on this side, pretty much typical of the artifacts, the antiques that you would have found at that time. Over on this side of the farm, we offer things for sale that the public, when they come to visit, can take back a memento of their visit to Deanna Rose Children's Farmstead. So that's a little bit about the farm.
Next door is the ice cream parlor where families can cool off and have sweet treats.
This was built about 2 years ago, maybe 3. The name Alex and Emily's are grandchildren of the people that helped donate the money for the building to be built. And it's supposed to be, I think they're pretty amazed at what we offer. Besides ice cream, we have food and lunch, and our prices are pretty good. And we've got this great old piece over here on the wall that came from a local town towards Stillwell, Kansas. That's an old antique, authentic ice cream parlor, marble top piece of furniture.
We had an amazing time looking at these great stores and learning the history behind them.
Back to you guys.
If you want to get some hands-on experience with some animals, let's check out our next story.
Hi, I'm Abby. And I'm Bella. Today we're at the Goat Petting Zoo at the Deanna Rose Farmstead, a very popular and attractive place.
Let's go take a look.
The Goat Feeding Petting Zoo is a fun place to be at the farmstead. Lots of children love feeding goats from milk bottles, which you can purchase at Deanna Rose. We talked to a volunteer at the Goat Petting Zoo, Sister Champagne.
You can buy a little bottle of milk to feed the goats, and they love it. They'll chase after you for this, for that stuff. So we've got about, I think, 40-something baby goats. Well, I actually am a missionary for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and we like to do a lot of volunteer work. And so when I got moved here, because I was assigned to the Missouri, Kansas area, and so when they said to look for service opportunities, my companion over there, Sister Penman, she said that there was a good service opportunity at the farmstead that we can help with the animals, and today I was assigned to the baby goats.
Some goats are darker than others, and some have larger or smaller ears. Goats produce milk, which makes great cheese or can be used in soap. It's very good for your skin. Overall, goats are friendly and interesting animals. Thank you for joining us today at the Goat Petting Zoo.
I hope you enjoyed seeing the goats.
Let's go back to the anchors.
If you like the outdoors for your recreation, our next story will tell you good opportunities to do so.
Hi, I'm April.
Hi, I'm Priyanka.
Deanna Rose Children's Farmstead is a very popular summer attraction. One of the many activities that kids love here is the pony rides.
We got a chance to interview some of the staff and ask them what they do on a regular basis.
Well, in the mornings we come down and get them out from their night pen. We groom them and feed them, and then we saddle them up. Well, they'll come in this gate right here, and then someone will be loading, and someone will be walking. And we basically have them come in, we take their tickets, and then they come in through the gate, we put them on the horse, they go around the figure eight once, and then we take them off. Another fun thing to do at Deanna Rose is fish. We asked a parent about his experiences at fishing at Deanna Rose.
It's a great experience for the kids to learn how to fish, their first experience in baiting a hook and catching some little fish, so it's a wonderful experience for the kids. Been here several times through the years. This is our first time this year, but we've been here multiple times. The kids really enjoy coming out here. So much great things to do here, but the kids really like to come fishing. Is probably their favorite.
Thanks for watching our report.
Now back to the anchors. Jackson, would you say that you are a rich man?
I would have to say I was not a rich man.
Well, let's head down to the mine and maybe you'll strike some gold.
Hi, I'm Otto Dunn.
And I'm Chris DeFlorio.
Today we're at the Deanna Rose Farmstead mine.
Let's learn some more about mining.
For many years, mining has been a big part of Kansas and its economy. There are many minerals and gemstones available in the lakes and streams. We also talked to a couple of customers.
That they had to go through a lot of dirt and stuff to get to this stuff. The rocks and the precious stuff. Well, what we had to do is we had to pour the dirt and gravel into the sifter, and then we had to put it in the water and let the water kind of rinse out all the sand, leaving the gravel and the stones.
Here's an employee to tell us more.
You can find lots of different gems and crystals, a lot of quartz, topaz, different like crystal points. You can find a lot of different like citrine, different gems and stones like that around here in Kansas. It's sweet to see all the different groups of kids coming in here and doing the mining shack. They come in here and they buy the bag of sand and they put it inside the sifters, and the sand will all come out, the rocks will stay in there, and they get to keep that. And so you get to see the excitement and the joy from a lot of different school groups and different people coming in. The things like this would be in the rivers, and so The pickaxe mining would be to find like big, large stones and things like that inside, caves or caverns. They get to see what it was like years ago. Especially, you've probably heard of like the California Gold Rush, when there was a massive wave out to California when the people heard of the gold that were inside the rivers in California. So they get to learn about the history of those people that moved out west to California, and they get to learn about different ways that people live to make their profit and to make their money. You might be able to see like the mill behind here. And so that was a way to be able to keep the energy going, and so they can see how all of the mining track was all ran through the power of the windmill.
I'm Otto Dunn.
And I'm Chris DeFlorio.
Back to the anchors.
Well, that wraps up our show. I'm Jackson Burning.
And I'm Lauren Graham. We would like to thank Deanna Rose for the hospitality this week. We'll see you next year.